Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. John Kelly Profiler here. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Very sad, short show we're going to be doing today, but we're going to be staying on top of it because we want to see where it goes. We'll be doing more on it next week, and we'll have some experts on that can go over this in depth with us. We're focusing on the shooting in Georgia, the high school shooting in Georgia. Got 4 dead, 9 injured. Very concerning, very sad, very upsetting. And, you have to understand everybody is innocent until proven guilty. There's no question about it. Also, we want to send our deepest condolences out to the families and friends of all the victims. No question about it. There's some really, really sad stuff going on here. Also, if you like what we're doing, please like us. If you want to subscribe, please feel free to subscribe. We can always use you on the team. We love your comments. We want you to comment. We want to know, we want you to comment. We want to know what you think. Okay. 2 heads are better than 1 and 200 heads are better than 2, right? So that's the way it works. We're always interested in your opinions, and we'll always get back to you. We're looking at 4 dead, 9 injured, school shooting in Georgia. Here we go again. We've got a 14-year-old that was arrested. I can't believe it. It's getting crazier and crazier as they're getting younger and younger. And we've got the father arrested again, too. Here we go. Crumbly's all over again. We got the father arrested, too. He's been hit with counts of murder. And also counts of, child endangerment. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And again, what is the major problem here? Neglect. We're looking at neglect. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really hits me in the heart. It really upsets me because I wrote this in my book over 24 years ago. Okay, over 24 years ago. I am the author of Low Self-Esteem, The Beginning of Addiction, which became Warning Signs, a guidebook for parents. And one of the chapters I have in Warning Signs, a guidebook for parents, the book is not published anymore. I think there's an audio book out there on it, but as far as a book in print, no more. All gone, all sold years ago. Okay, this was published 22 years ago. And it's why it pisses me off. It's why it pisses me off. Because I have a chapter in here on school violence. Now, I'm taking you back 20-some years. Okay, I want you to understand this. Okay. And at that point in time, we got feedback from law enforcement. Secret Service had a lot to do with the feedback as well. 3 major components go into a school shooter. 1, a lack of involvement or communication with the parents. Okay. Number 2, being bullied or intimidated at school. Okay. So we got a little bit of Columbine there. We got a little bit of the Crumblies there. And last but not least, access to weapons. Okay. Access to weapons. So anyway, I was working and directing counseling centers at that time. Outpatient counseling centers had a lot of involvement with families and kids. And what we started to notice was the lack of involvement by parents. They didn't seem to want to participate, a lot of them. Well, guess what? If they didn't participate, we wouldn't take the child in, because how the heck are you supposed to work with the child lots of times if you don't have, access to the parents and you don't have parental involvement? Bottom line, right? So we set a standard, which turned out to work very well for us. We're a #1 counseling center in New Jersey. The bottom line was, if you didn't want to come in with your child, please don't bring your child in. We're sorry, but we just can't do the work we want to do without you guys being involved. Because a lot of parents, believe it or not, and we saw this back in the day, and the reason for this book was because a lot of them wanted to kind of drop off their child like they were a toaster, a TV or something, fix him and call me when he's ready, kind of thing. No, we don't do that. Not here. Other people do that. We don't do that. No way, shape, or form. Okay. So then the other part of it was, in the chapter I did on school shooters, I want to tell you how we ended it, how I ended the chapter. And I was very fortunate to write this book with Brian Karam, number one best-selling author. Or I shouldn't say he is the number one best-selling author of all time or something like that by the New York Times, but he was a best-selling author in those days, a crime reporter who became a best-selling author. And he wrote this book with me. Fantastic writer. And Brian came up with some good things in his book because he's a parent, very active parent, very involved with his kids. Kudos to him. Okay, but a great writer. So anyway, the way we ended one of the chapters was we all know what happens when you corner a frightened animal. And it's the same with many of these children. They have reached a new level of rage that is the product of parenting and society. That's what we found out. That's what I discovered. That's what helped me write the theory. To help me write this book. It is a challenge. It is a challenge we must meet in this new millennium. Remember, this is 20-some years ago when I wrote this. Otherwise, we will face horrible consequences. Otherwise, we will face horrible consequences. Do you know how many school shootings have gone on since I wrote this book in the last 25 years? I mean, it'd piss you off too, right? Because we saw this coming. We put it out there. Bottom line, and look at and find out the hidden violence in your children. Okay? Bottom line, and it was not a best-selling book. By no means, even though it was written very well. And the bottom line for that is because we could see that parents didn't want to get that involved with their children. They weren't interested in focusing that much attention on the behavior and what their kids were doing. And we saw it coming. We saw this coming. Not like this. I didn't expect all these school shootings. Yeah, we did research Columbine. Yes, Columbine was in the book. But to see an epidemic of it, no. We didn't see that kind of violence coming, but we knew there was going to be violence and issues. Now, right now, we've got, as I said, 4 dead, 9 injured by the school shooter called Gray in Georgia. He was arrested. His father was arrested. And we're looking at, various counts of murder on Colt and attempted murder, 9 injured. Got a lot of different charges, a lot of allegations, a lot of things flying around. Okay, and again, everybody's innocent proven guilty. The father got arrested, like the Crumbley's father, and the father got arrested for criminal negligence, allegedly. 2 counts of second-degree murder, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. This is what we're hearing. Again, it's, these are allegations, 8 counts of cruelty of children. But what bothers me? Here's the thing that pisses me off. These people have to pay for their sins. There's no question about it. Young or old. I'm sorry, across the line. But how about neglect? You see, a lot of people don't understand that you are responsible for your children and your kids, usually until they're about 18 years old. And that goes on pretty much in every state. All right? So when you see child abuse, you have to report it. Did you know that neglect is considered child abuse? Yeah, it is. And if you're a neglectful parent, you can be charged with child abuse. There's no question about it. So child abuse, I'm sorry, is not only about physical abuse and sexual abuse. You know, there's many pieces to it. There's no question about it. You know, the other thing that really upsets me is that this kid sent out a warning shot supposedly over the internet a year or so ago. Ellie came in on him. Ellie spoke with him and his father. The father said he had everything under control. The kid did get to use a weapon and go hunting with them, but only when he was supervised. I think he was 13 at that time. No problem. As long as you're supervising your child, you brought him up. You taught him the safety of handling the weapon, what to do, what not to do. Okay, we see it all the time. However, you know, somebody over the internet, and Ellie didn't have enough to press charges, it seems, but, you know, threatened to shoot up a school. And the reason Ellie was at their house is because they believed, you know, that this had to do with them, that this had to do with the young man. This had to do with Colt, I'm sorry. So you have to understand that right there, without getting that child into a counselor, in my books, is neglect. All right. Now, maybe they didn't have enough proof, whatever. I don't know how it went. But believe me, that's when you start to think about or move on getting your child in to see a therapist. Now, here's the other part of it. The other part of it is, it seems at the time, his mother and father going through a divorce. Okay, and there's other siblings involved as well. So I guess some went with the wife, he stayed with the father, right? But also, we're hearing about bullying, possible bullying at the school he was at. So now you start thinking about trauma and you start to think about post-traumatic stress. Okay? Again, he's guilty for what he did. But let me tell you something. Usually there is rage that is built up in these young kids. And you have to ask yourself, where is that rage coming from? What has caused that rage? What's the root cause? Right? Because if you can get rid of that, you can dilute the rage. You dilute the rage, guess what? Probably he's not picking up a weapon. You know, going off to school with a big mat on to take it out on everybody. You know, it's very sad, but unfortunately, what we're looking at here again is neglect and ducking the responsibility of being a good parent. You know, that's the Crumbly family. You're all in jail now. The child's in jail, the father's in jail, the mother's in jail. The shooter's in jail. Father, who's responsible for the weapon, let the kid have it. He's in jail. And then the mother, because, you know, obviously she didn't listen to any suggestions or advice or counselors or whatever, but she didn't get him in counseling, you know, or did not listen to the school counselor. I think that was the big piece of it. I think he was talking some really angry stuff with the school counselor. So let me end this. This is a quick session, okay? Bottom line, we're going to get more to this. We're going to keep following this story, and I'm going to have some experts on. But the bottom line here, before we go any further, is child abuse needs to be reported. And it is your obligation to report it. If you see it or hear about it, you got to report it. Child abuse got to go. It is the bane. I believe it's the major bane in this society. And neglect, again, is a form of child abuse. Okay? But you know what? It's not only your obligation, it's your responsibility. In this country, it's your responsibility. Morally, it's your responsibility, and I don't care what country you're in. No child should be tortured or persecuted. And always remember, A lot of hurt kids can hurt other people. No question about it. We see that all the time, don't we, with all the serials and everything else that's going on. And, some of these school shooters that have been bullied. And some of these school shooters are just about fame. They want to be famous. But again, that goes back to that low self-esteem. I mean, what's going on in their mind, right? And I don't care if it's about fame or if it's about vengeance or what it's about. It's about rage and anger. Okay, that's what's causing it. So anyway, thanks for listening to me. Have a great day. Until next time, most importantly, please take care of yourself. Stay on your toes. Very violent out there. Very violent society we're in. And many blessings. Thanks again. God bless. Have a great day. Thank you.